Welcome to the Solution, a Real Estate podcast where Jeff Sibbach and Phil Sexton, we sit down at a table. We take a break from running our team of 83 agents that is based out of the Phoenix metropolitan marketplace. And we talk about things that we are seeing in the industry, directions that we see the industry going, ways that we can put the consumer first, keep the consumer as the guiding light in our industry. We're brought to you by LEOPARD, which is real estate agents for consumers. We kind of rebranded LEOPARD since we came on last.
Real estate agents for consumers.
Yes.
Right?
Well, because
welcome everybody. Yes.
Because we used to be the National Association of Teams, but what we found is
not everybody likes teams, especially brokers don't like teams.
I was going to say, actually, what we found was that the value, what we were bringing to the industry wasn't just for teams. When we're talking about keeping the consumer as the guiding light, that applies to real estate agents, that applies to brokers, that applies indie brokers and teams. And I felt that, we agreed that the calling it the National Association of Teams was a little bit misleading.
We never felt that way, but it was only like we knew that all teams would fit. Right. But we knew there was independent agents that were non-teams that would fit. And we knew that there'd be indie brokers. So it was just hard. We were just kind of.
But when you look at the principles of what LEOPARD stands for and having better transparency for consumers and having it easier for agents to showcase themselves, whether if they're great 5-star agents or not, having the ability for agents to identify or consumers to identify listing agents on properties. Like, as we started to look at the guiding lights, they were all around ways that were good for the consumer. And so really all we are with LEOPARD is real estate agents for consumers. We're having conversations, and today's conversation is all about the consumer. And that is, from an agent standpoint, how do you create passive income?
Well, we said that because we know that our audience for this podcast is agents, so that they would pay attention, because clearly, I mean, do you not want to make more money while doing exactly what you're doing? Isn't that everybody's goal?
That sounds good.
Like, so today we got 1.5 million agents around the country showed up for this podcast, because how could you not?
It almost broke Zoom.
Right.
Like Adam was.
And broke Facebook as well.
Yeah,
I mean, if you can break Facebook, you're pretty good.
I think Zillow went down.
Yes. Well, everything went down, because we're going to talk about, but the reality is what we're talking about today is how can we bundle and save for the consumer? I mean, it's just like, how can we stay competitive moving forward in a progressive world, right? And maybe for those that don't know, I showed you in our team discussion about what was about 8 weeks ago or 12 weeks ago, Loan Depot came out and said that they're going to help people bundle and save. Okay. And I started to think that that is something that I think that agents should look into, because we're going to need to offer it, because Zillow offers it. OpenDoor offers it. Redfin offers it, right? And the reality is just as teams are now becoming more and more influential, I mean, the reality is that 6,000 brokers across America are offering mortgage or title or insurance as a piece of an affiliated business agreement and do it legally. But to be competitive,
wasn't it 6%? Was that
6% is what I read.
So in the latest survey by the National Association of Realtors, when they asked all of the brokerages how many had affiliated business agreements, or was it specifically to lending? I think it was specifically to lending, wasn't it? Where it said 6%, the answer was 6% of the respondents.
Yeah, right. And there's 110,000 brokers across the US. So I'm just saying roughly 6,000 of them. But the idea is that this is because I think it's because of the bad actors in the business, that people that were paying referrals, they were, I mean, the three big things, like, first of all, RESPA compliance is the only way to go, right? Like,
hold on, can I back up for a second?
Sure.
I mean, obviously you're spot on, but here's the thing, is when we got licensed in this industry in 2003, 2006, and we were working as independent agents, and you're working as an agent and you're going to continuing education classes. What is it? 12 hours a year. We're 24 hours every 2 years here in Arizona of continuing education classes. And we're getting told by brokers on best ways to do things. There's never any conversation about the right way to build a company that can bundle and save.
Right. And now
all the fodder that we are fed is about the other side of it, which is run from it.
Well, it's because brokers are compliance machines. It wasn't I the first one who said that. You said that, and that is true. And they're worried because the reality is brokerages, especially large brokerages, when you have more than 500 agents or 1,000 agents, you're worried about making broad reaching statements that people hear what they want to hear and then take advantage of it. And then you're sued as a broker. So it hasn't been something that has been pitched to people that, you know what, actually, if, you know, like for instance, I own a car that is ranked in the top 100 fastest cars in America. Okay.
Is that a Lamborghini?
No.
Oh, a Ferrari?
It's electric.
It's electric.
Yeah.
It's a Ford.
Their stock's really good too. No.
But anyway, you have a Tesla.
Right, yeah. But the reality is that as long as I drive the speed limit, the cops don't come after me. Right? Like as long as you obey the compliance rules, we think that there should be a way that we can figure out how to bundle and save for the consumer.
Okay. So, I mean, just to take your analogy there, the reason why you didn't buy your 16-year-old the car that you drive now is because it is kind of like brokers telling real estate agents not to have bundle and save programs.
Yes.
Like you're not actually, I don't even want to get into the conversation. So let's just put a governor on your car that only lets you drive 65 miles an hour at the max.
I mean, I think the challenge for teams is because teams are not allowed to have employees.
But I don't think it's just teams. I don't want to get locked into teams because I think one of the reasons that you alluded to.
I'm just talking about why it's not talked about, right? Like just hurdles for, because brokers, you know, are nervous about compliance and they don't want to get into lawsuits. And obviously there's some horrendous law.
I'm going to go a little bit more controversial reason.
Okay.
And that's because some of the brokers have their own affiliated business agreements and they don't want the competition.
I actually think that was the number one reason why they didn't pitch it, because they wanted you to use theirs so that they could benefit, which is funny because it's why we at least wanted to have a topic about it. It's why we wanted to talk about it, because the reality is our question is, why don't agents that do a great job, that are fair to consumers, that will disclose, that will not require, you know.
Yeah. Is it possible?
Yes.
Is it possible for real estate agents or brokerages to offer a bundle and save program that includes the vertically integrated mortgage, title, insurance, real estate activities? Is that possible?
I mean, because the thing is what I found about
the disruptors are showing us it's possible.
Right. Yes. No, we are.
I mean, I say disruptors, but really it's just the newcomers, the big tech companies.
Right. And sorry, I'm just waiting on a service appointment here. The reality is that I guess from a consumer side, it's hard for me because I know that on a national level, people talk about how it's bad to double end the deal.
Right, but dual agency is illegal in some states.
Dual agency is illegal, and we agree.
It's legal in Arizona.
In some reason, they are, you know, I mean, but yet when we go and look at the iBuyers, Zillow, OpenDoor, OfferPad, that consumers clearly choose money and convenience sometimes over representation.
Right, like those all of the sellers that go to investor directly to sell their house chooses not to have an agent rather than have an agent.
Right. So the question is so obviously if we can offer the consumer bundle and save.
Are you saying, wait, but are you saying that means dual agency is better than no representation?
I think that if there's benefits for the consumer, i.e. bundle and save, if there's a way for the consumer to save money in working with an agent, because that was what I learned at John Hall, was that when you represent both sides, we offer a discount. That's what I learned early on, right? Like in my career, it was, you did it to get, you had to offer them a discount, right?
I mean, I don't know that that's definitely not a conversation that we get into often, is commission.
Yes.
So I don't know that that's a set anywhere. It's not set anywhere.
It's not, yeah, it's
that's
not,
just what you choose to do in your business.
yeah. Well, I thought that I was trying to find the benefit for the consumer.
Okay.
Like why, if it's two representation, what is the benefit for them?
So like variable commission in the MLS.
Yes, right. So because the variable commission is offered in the MLS.
Right.
And I think that if my
meaning
point
a different
is
commission will be charged if the listing agent represents both sides.
right. So as we get into this, so like I go out to the CFBP because I wanted to see, because the headline number is that they doled out over the 8 years that they have been in existence, that they have doled out $11.9 billion in fines.
Woo!
Right. So then
that's how we need to get that number to $1 trillion so that we can start paying off this debt that we've got.
a couple trillion.
Okay.
Yeah. Not enough. But the reality is that a lot of it came in regards to financial companies and they're not advertising correctly, and then also not disclosing, and then requiring, but then also usually it seems like a lot of times it's not bundling and saving, it's use this program which I make more money on, right? Like I think that's the key to it, is saving the consumer money.
Well, it's giving the consumer the option of what they would like to do.
Yes.
If they want to go this route or that route, and this route or that route can come with different fees, with different services, and then they just get to choose from an educated standpoint.
Right. So the question for me is, can we create passive income and make it a win-win? And I don't know.
I think the answer is yes.
I think
because we've started to explore this, right? We've had 2 conversations with RESPA attorneys.
Yes.
Where we are talking to people to figure out, is it possible?
And we should, if anyone out there is thinking about this, they should first consult a RESPA attorney to make sure that they're following all of the rules.
Yes. Don't put yourself in harm's way.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
So, in the conversations that we've had with the RESPA attorneys, it's interesting. It's almost, remember the one guy that we chatted with? It was almost like he was representing some other entity that we were very familiar with.
Yes.
And he was talking as if he wasn't on. It was almost like he was protecting them, not advising us.
Agreed. There was no,
which is why we went to a second
and looked at a third, because the good news is the laws are written very plainly to read.
Clear.
Yes,
right.
Very clear. And the key is, like when you read through because I went through online, and there have been 2 major mortgage companies that have gotten fines for what they did. So let me go to the mortgage section. So while there's mortgage servicing, there was several, but then actually just like the mortgages, because obviously if we're going to get passive income, we're going to look at things like mortgage, title, or insurance is the possible things that we would look at. But the most of the fines were in credit cards. Like, it's funny because when you look at the CFPB, who did they fine? Bank of America, Chase, American Express. Right? Like, it's funny because you're like, oh man, like, but I use all of those companies and they get fined. Like, it's just, it's crazy.
And you still have fees you have to pay.
And you still have fees, right? Yes, right.
I mean, looking at the big companies though, I mean, like, let's just take Zillow, for example, Zillow, or even Rocket Homes. How about we talk about Rocket Homes and Rocket Mortgage? It obviously can be done underneath one umbrella where you have you abide by all of the laws that govern this concept. You understand the RESPA. You probably have an attorney on retainer, and you set up these individual entities in a way so that the one company, I don't know what the group is called at the top, but the group owns several different entities.
Yeah, let's just go with Quicken.
Okay, great. Quicken. So we have Quicken at the top with then Rocket Homes or Rocket Loans underneath it as separate entities. Therefore, it's legal, but it's just, how can smaller guys do it than the ones that have these big deep pockets?
Yeah, no, that's why we wanted to open up the conversation, because the reality is it's worrying about our future. Is that if they're offering opportunities to work with all, then therefore allowing them to charge the consumer less, we want to remain competitive. Right. Well, what I'm truly worried about is because we only have our eye on one piece of the pie. So I mean real estate. Yeah, in this process, we interviewed a guy that said that it was a real estate brokerage.
Yep.
And he said that he didn't even care about the commission that he made from the real estate transaction. He made more money from the other services in the business. And that was the first time, it's about 2 years ago, that we were like, why aren't we doing that? Right. Yeah. Like we thought it was illegal. And then, obviously time goes by or whatever. But the thought is that if these companies can make so much money on mortgage and title and insurance,
that they can charge the consumer less across the board, they can bundle and save.
Right.
And so then how do we bundle and save?
Right. So, all right. So I got the last one was in 2017, Prospect Mortgage had an illegal kickback scheme is what they said. So a major lender was paying illegal kickbacks for mortgage referrals, which is clearly illegal, right? So the CFPB took action against 2 real estate brokers and mortgage servicers. Basically, you send me a title and I'll write you a check is what happened, right? And
illegal.
That is completely illegal, and we can't do that. But I think there's got to be
clearly seeing how these big dogs have set up different entities. That's going to be, obviously with
Glenn Kelman said it. He said this is the future. Right. So yes. I'm more of,
I think we should bring a RESPA attorney on air with us, and we should have a conversation. We should interview. We should see who out there wants to be a part of our conversation. Actually, if you guys have RESPA attorneys that you've chatted with, I'd be curious if anybody is like, where's the RESPA attorney that's trying to get some business that might want to join us?
Excellent.
Don't you think that'd be fun?
I think that would be great.
Because then we can put him on the spot for how we do this and see what came out of it. He probably would say no.
Well, he's just going to, he or she, probably she will, talk about their experiences and what it is and not. But it's not, when you read it, it doesn't say that a agent can't do it. Nowhere.
No, agreed. So here's some of the things that we have found is for it to happen, you might need different licenses, like a mortgage loan originator license.
Or an insurance,
or a property and casualty license,
right?
Where it's not technically illegal to earn 2 commissions off of one transaction, one for the real estate world and one for the mortgage world. Actually, when I got into this, when I moved to Phoenix in 2005, I worked for a company called L&G Mortgage Bank. And that was their whole program, was the real estate agents can get licensed to originate loans. And that way they can earn commission off of both the mortgage and the real estate.
So you're saying this has been around for a long time?
Absolutely. And it's actually, it was
when the L&G Mortgage still around?
No, they're gone, because when the crash happened and FHA loans became super prominent and there was not a lot of conforming loans that happened, FHA didn't allow it. It's actually a not allowed in certain loan programs. And so L&G folded up, they went away. But now I'm starting to see, we had a conversation this week of people that are coming back to the table with different ideas or programs of how to make this work.
The other thing is we worked at a brokerage.
Did Dave have a question? Sorry, Dave, I just saw. No? All right.
We worked at a brokerage prior to coming to our existing brokerage, where that brokerage clearly made a lot of money from
partnerships.
Right. Mortgage companies and title companies. I believe that now they own the title company. right? Or they created their own or whatever it is.
There
But they
you
were
go,
making,
same
they were
concept.
making so much. That's what I'm saying is that they were, but I think that the CFPB is more, people are being predatory with it, where they're trying to charge people more money and to funnel business. And I just want, like, that is not allowed. And that
Maybe
is
it
not where we're
doesn't-
going. I want to be able to save the consumer money.
But maybe it doesn't happen. It's not talked
It's
about
a
often
convenience thing.
because there's a certain number of deals that you have to do to make it worthwhile for the headache of creating these separate entities. Where if you're an agent out there and you do 10 deals a year, does it make sense to go through all of this to set up an entirely separate company in order to help bundle and
Well,
save?
I mean, you
I
clear,
don't know.
like when you look at Redfin that does it because they have employees, because that's the other piece of it. I think that, I mean, I know that we are actively working to allow teams to have employees, right? Like we're trying to get a law passed. It could be a year, it could be 2 years, could be 3 years, so that happens. But the reality is that it's a significant advantage for those that are offering it. How is bundle and save not more? I mean, what other, give me an example of bundle and save that you know of, or maybe we asked about it. Insurance.
Yeah, like house and your car and your commercial.
Oh,
Yeah, actually, it is time for a commercial. Okay. Hold on one second. Let's take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back.
Agents, agents, agents. There are more agents than ever. We're just going to say it. We think our industry can do better. LEOPARD is the first industry association that prioritizes the consumer over their interests, led by elite agents and teams across the country. We're banding together to help consumers find the best realtors in the business, to train them to be even better, and then put them in the spotlight. It's time to promote the true neighborhood experts in every community in America. Join us.
Welcome back to The Solution. Thanks for hanging in there. Man, I just love those advertisers. Was that Lena? I think that was Lena.
She's really
that was
good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. She actually went and did a voiceover for a video that we created, and the company that she went to was like, "You want to do some more voiceovers?"
Oh, that's awesome.
Hey girl,
Hey,
I like your
girl.
voice.
Yeah.
That's my new pickup line. Just kidding. I'm married. I'm happy. I'm good.
All right.
All right. Back to the content. All right, where were we, Sibbach?
We were talking about how we save the consumer more money and how we actually open up the door for us to make passive income while doing it. Why? Because commission is clear. I mean, I guess what really made me want to do the conversation was because I was reading the DOJ settlement and they were so specific. And we're after the, I don't know, was it 10 billion or 60 billion dollars in commissions each year? I don't know what the number was, but they came out and said basically this is under attack. And then I was starting to put the math together. Why is everybody, after the real estate commission? Because when the brokerage that we met with said that he makes more money off of ancillary services, yet everybody's after the commission. And what I realized is that it's because we are transparent. We put it on the agreement. It is like they can see it. So, but
Unlike what?
The mortgage industry,
Okay, how so?
because they make money, and as we're starting to look into this to try and figure out, well, how much money they make. We have lenders. We talk to them. They do pretty well.
Yeah, and I don't know at any point they disclose how much they make in the secondary market to the consumer.
Never. No, it was not in anything that I read anyway. I don't know. We probably have to lender on and ask them if they just, there's crazy.
Right, because then, and you're saying if they were to disclose how much they actually made on a transaction or whatever, running their business, that industry would be under more of an attack.
I think
than they
so.
are now.
Well, because they're our lenders aren't broke. Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
But
But I see a lot of broke.
look at
I
title
think I see a lot of broke real estate agents. I don't see a lot of broke lenders. So, because of refinancing.
I was gonna say that's because it's harder to become
It's a bigger
lender,
pool.
but-
No, there's a bigger pool of refinancing because everybody that own a home can refinance.
Okay.
has the ability to refinance.
Yeah.
So therefore, there's,
Oh,
you know,
more.
1.5 million homeowners or 2 million homeowners, basically 70% of them, each year could refinance, because as long as there's a value to them, which oddly enough is they can add the closing costs on the end of the refinance. The loan value go up, but they save $75 a month, and that's enough for them to refinance. Like I came across one the other day that they refinanced 10 times. I'm just saying that lenders are, but you can't tell by looking at that. But in a real estate transaction, our number is plastered on, which is, I even think we should have more disclosures, because like Redfin came out and said that they now are disclosing the buyer broker fee. Well, unfortunately, though, it's funny because they're like, no, we put it on there. It's 3 scrolls down,
But it's still there.
yeah,
That's better than
it's
not.
Better than not.
Better than not.
Better than not. But I'm more interested in
I
avenues to keep us relevant. And I think that
and compliant.
Yeah.
Right. So relevant means that we have to be able to have costs of services with value of services provided at a cost that is similar to the people that are able to bundle and save.
Yes. No, I even think we're gonna have to offer it even better than they did. Like I think we can be competitive, and then we can actually make more money on all 3. If we made money on 4 different things, it's hard to think that we couldn't still make more money while the real estate commissions came down. That was just the thought.
Right.
Right.
So step 1, communicate. I mean, to get to actually create passive revenue while staying at your brokerage. Actually, one piece I want to say is your ICA at your brokerage might actually come into play here, because some independent contractor agreements won't allow it.
Right. We're at
And
EXP, and EXP's ICA states specifically that you cannot be the real estate agent and the loan officer on the same loan.
Right. So make sure whatever company you're at, you understand what the ICA says, because that might come into play here. Review your ICA, step 1. Step 2, probably talk to a RESPA attorney about what it is that you're moving forward with, because you don't
Step
want
1,
to
talk
be,
to your broker. Step 2, talk to an attorney. Sounds like a great process so far.
Step 3, you ready? Get a license. You might want to look into getting licenses for the different services. If you're planning on originating loans and getting paid, you're going to need a license, or you're going to have to be an employee of a servicing of a company.
I also think that it might need to be a group effort, right? Like, to me, the in our research of it, it seems that there's usually a bunch of agents or teams involved together, because it's you can't pay for an individual service, so you wanted to have enough volume to make sense.
Got it. So grab your friends to figure it out.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that you can have enough volume to make it worthwhile.
Well, I mean, honestly, if you're trying to negotiate with a broker, it's why Zillow can, it's why Loan Depot can, it's why Redfin, because of the volume. Our old brokerage, they had a lot. They at each branch could generate enough volume for the lender and the title company to, I don't know if they did insurance or not, but.
Oh, and inspections, are you kidding? Like, you know how many companies pay to have their business cards in the office? That's step 1, right?
Oh, you mean just don't require it. Just if you want to advertise in your office, we should get a check.
Right.
Right.
Like a marketing service agreement.
Right. Awesome.
Yeah. Anyway, interesting topic. It's one that we're looking into.
We have not seen the topic or heard the topic discussed in any fashion, and I thought, well,
I'm interested in having conversations.
I want to know how other teams are going to deal with the competitive beasts that are out there, which is the iBuyers, which is the all-in-one companies, now Loan Depot, now Quicken, now Zillow, right? Like this, like our world shifting, right? And because when they offer mortgage, they're talking to the people regularly. They're calling,
but even like EXP, I think, has their own title company, don't they?
Yes.
Silverstone or Silverton or something
Silver
like that.
Line.
Silver line.
Yes.
All right.
And because the point of it is that we are already signing an affiliated business disclosure for EXP.
Right.
Right. It's just, how can we bundle and save?
Yes. At what point, actually, I think that may be a future conversation that we have around this topic. And that is, at what point do you do enough transactions where it makes sense to look at this? Because I don't view this conversation as being hey, I just got my license, I'm getting into the industry conversation.
No.
This is a
You have to.
This is a
you
volume.
You have to know what escrow means.
Yeah.
To get paid on escrow. Right?
So more to come on this.
Yeah,
more to come as we
come. But it's just the idea of our competitors are doing it. They're actually saying it's the world in front of us. Yet I don't see people talking about it. So
right. So let's bring it up.
And so our first step was let's look at RESPA, let's stay compliant, but let's figure this out. So
step 2.5 was let's talk about it on the podcast.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's how else are we going to find out others that are doing it and they're doing it well? There has to be lots of other people that are doing it. So we thought, let's put it out there, see what,
Reach out to us if you're doing it. We're interested.
Yep.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening. See you next time.